Hi, I have the iPhone 14 Pro and the 15 Pro with me today, and I'm going to be talking about the differences between the two phones. And for context, I have the purple iPhone 14 Pro and the black titanium for iPhone 15 Pro. So let's kick things off with the most obvious difference, which is the build material. First and foremost, what I noticed immediately when I picked up the iPhone 15 Pro was how light it was compared to holding the iPhone 14 Pro. It's almost 20 grams lighter, which might not sound like much, but that's about 4 nickels lighter. And when it comes to your phone, which you hold every day, you can definitely notice the difference. iPhone 15 Pro is made out of titanium, while the 14 Pro is made out of polished stainless steel. I think the best way for me to describe how iPhone 15 Pro feels in my head compared to the 14 Pro is that it almost feels hollow. And I personally love how light it is, and I think you will as well. There's also a minor change to the overall dimensions of the phone. So here's a quick chart of the dimensions of the phone. iPhone 15 Pro is ever so slightly smaller in all dimensions compared to the 14 Pro. So your old 14 Pro case won't fit on the 15 Pro. And iPhone 15 Pro has edges that are more round off compared to the 14 Pro. So it definitely feels nicer in your hand. One key physical difference on the iPhone 15 Pro is the addition of the action button. So the action button has replaced the mute switch that's been around since the very first iPhone. I personally leave my phone on mute permanently, so I have no complaints of it being replaced by the mute switch. One huge downside, in my opinion, of the action button is kind of the limited options you get on what you can assign the action button to do. You do get a total of 6, one of them being shortcuts, where you can utilize the Shortcuts app to really get it to whatever you want to do, which is very nice. But to be completely honest, I've been a little bit lazy and I've been just using it as a flashlight button personally. But I know there's a lot of instruction videos out there on how you can best utilize the action button. So I definitely recommend you watch those. But personally, I'm keeping it simple. And one good thing about the action button is that it will improve with software releases. And I'm sure that will add more options. But I also hope that they add features to double press or even triple press to utilize the action button instead of just one single press. Another huge but minor upgrade in the physical department is the switch to the USB-C port from the Lightning port, which has been around since the iPhone 5. While this is a great upgrade for the future and makes life much simpler going forward, where you'll be able to use the USB-C cable for all your devices, it's still a bit of a pain for me at the moment having to buy new cables for my CarPlay, portable chargers, just simpler things that I didn't think about, but I still think it's a great addition, and I'm very looking forward to using USB-C for all my devices. Next up is the camera, which is where a big chunk of changes come from. This is not a camera review, nor am I a camera expert, so I won't be going into much detail, but I'll be covering the basics of the main differences between the two cameras. The biggest change in the camera system this year comes only in the 15 Pro Max model, which has the periscope zoom, that has a 5x zoom capability compared to the regular 3x zoom on the regular 15 Pro model. While the 15 Pro camera has the same main 48 megapixel camera as the 14 Pro, now you get the 1.2 and 1.5 sensor crop on the 15 Pro, which you can set as focal lengths on your camera app. Lastly, there's also a new anti-reflective coating, which will help with reducing lens flare as well. These last two differences are probably the smallest differences out of all of them, so I won't be spending too much time. But first is the bezels on both phones. They're technically thinner on the iPhone 15 Pro by about 0.7 millimeters, which equates to about the thickness of 7 to 10 sheets of paper put together. Here you can notice the difference when you put them side by side. Now, I'm in no shape or form complaining that the bezels are thinner. I think it's great, but it should not be a deciding factor when you're looking to upgrade, especially from the 14 Pro. Last but not least, as you'd expect, iPhone 15 Pro has the newest updated A17 Bionic chip, which is Apple's first chip built using the new 3nm manufacturing process. But to be very frank here, I haven't noticed any difference when it comes to day-to-day usage, and I'm sure you won't, especially if you upgrade from the 14 Pro. All in all, I'm enrolled in the iPhone upgrade program, so I have the privilege to be able to upgrade my iPhone every year. And I really love the iPhone 15 Pro, how it feels in my hand, how light it is. I love the titanium feel. I almost don't even want to use a case on it. Outside of that, from a very average user perspective, I don't think there's enough changes in the 15 Pro for me to suggest an upgrade, especially coming from the 14 Pro. But I think if you're coming from any older models, I think it's still going to be worth the upgrade. But anyway, I'm sure you'll make the right choice for yourself. Thank you for watching.